What's up everyone, the Game2K2 here once again, and I'm here to do a segment of the show that I haven't done in a very long time, the Versus Match. This is where I take two similar parts of entertainment, compare them, and see which one is better. For this match, we get two very alike movies from two different generations. Today, we take a look at the Bad News Bears and the Mighty Ducks. These two movies couldn't be any more similar. In fact, the Mighty Ducks was very much inspired by the Bad News Bears. But in this match, we're going to see which one is truly better. Is the original movie better, or is the more updated and more modern version the better movie? Let's find out. Alright, let's kick this thing off with Best Lead Actors and Characters. For this category, I'm talking about the two adult leads, in this case Walter Matthau, who plays Morris Buttermaker in the Bad News Bears, and Emilio Estevez, who plays Gordon Bombay in the Mighty Ducks. Both are great actors, but I've always been a huge fan of Walter Matthau for as long as I could remember. He gave 100% effort on almost every movie he was in. Remember Dennis the Menace? That movie was literally saved from being complete crap because of him. He was the only enjoyable actor from that movie. Emilio Estevez is kind of the opposite. He's a great actor, but there are roles where he just doesn't even try. Remember Free Jack? Well, you probably don't remember that because I think it's only watchable in countries with a 20-drink minimum. But that's off topic. What I'm talking about is their performances in these two films, and which character and performance was stronger and more realistic. Buttermaker is a former minor league pitcher who is now a pool cleaner and an alcoholic. Gordon Bombay is a lawyer and also former Pee Wee hockey player with a bad past of missing a penalty shot in the championship game. Naturally, both of these characters are forced to coach the worst teams in their respective sport. While I do like Estevez and I commend him for giving it his all in the role, he simply can't compete with Walter Matthau in his role as Buttermaker. Matthau's performance is not only, in my opinion, better, but also seems a lot more realistic. Buttermaker is a character that had a failed baseball career, doesn't make much money, and spends most of his money on beer. Bombay is a successful lawyer who makes good money, and even after being sent on community service and requested to take leave of absence from his job, is still on salary and still doing well for himself. It's tough to feel pain for someone who's haunted by a Pee Wee hockey game and grew up with a successful career. So overall, Estevez, you gave it your all, but Matthau simply pounds you into the ground with both his performance and character. Next is Best Child Cast and Characters. Okay, this category is tough to choose from. While movie writers are not exactly great on writing kids' roles, both movies handled their child cast pretty well. While there are some over-the-top moments, they are fairly realistic. The Bad News Bears child cast was pretty good. They were fairly decent actors, but I always felt there wasn't much chemistry between the child cast. They had great chemistry with Matthau whenever he was involved, but didn't have much chemistry together when he wasn't. I think this goes back to Matthau's performance. Matthau could make anybody look good on screen, and he did that with all the kids in the film whenever he was acting with them, but it seemed to tumble whenever they were forced to act alone. The Mighty Ducks was the opposite. They chose some great child actors for each part, and the cast had tremendous chemistry together. You actually believed that they were a team even though they were bad at first, and you could sense a history between each of the characters, even though we didn't know them very well when we first saw the film. Granted, there were moments when the cast would struggle through some of the acting, but that's expected when child actors are involved. So overall, better acting and better chemistry with the child cast makes the Mighty Ducks kids a far more appealing group than that of the Bad News Bears kids. Next is Best Supporting Cast. This is all about the adult supporting cast. The child supporting cast from both films don't play much of a part unless they're facing each other in a game, so I don't see the reason of bringing them up in this versus match. In this case, I'm talking about the antagonists of the film, the Bad News Bears antagonists Roy Walker and Cleveland, played by Vic Morrow and Joyce Van Patten, and the Mighty Ducks antagonist Jack Riley, played by Lane Smith. There are also some other characters in both films, but those characters are the main focus of this category. First of all, none of the antagonists of either movie are the least bit realistic. In fact, they're all written as classic movie villains. All love to coach kids' teams, and yet all seem to ironically hate kids as well. The Bad News Bears antagonists I always thought were more well thought out in some weird way. For some reason, even though they were cruel to the kids playing for the Bears, they also didn't seem as cruel or harsh as Riley from the Mighty Ducks. Also, I felt that Vic Morrow brought more to his role than Lane Smith brought to his. Smith is a great actor, but seemed to know that he was in a kid's film and didn't quite turn out his best performance. Morrow could be both funny but also serious in the role of Roy Walker, which is what made him far more appealing as an antagonist. Joyce Van Patten was kind of a second antagonist in the film as Cleveland in the Bad News Bears, and I felt that she was in the same situation as Smith in the Mighty Ducks because her performance is simply dreadful. The Mighty Ducks did have a larger supporting cast with veteran actor Joss Ackland as Hans and Heidi Kling as Casey Conway. While a large supporting cast isn't necessarily a bad thing, I always felt like moments between Hans and Gordon and Casey and Gordon felt more like filler scenes. Again, I didn't like Bombay's character, and I think that's what killed those scenes for me. They aren't horribly acted, they just feel unnecessary. So overall, while the acting goes up and down for both movies as far as supporting cast is concerned, this goes to the Bad News Bears. Next is Best Sports Scenes. Ah yes, this is actually what both movies are about, the sports themselves, in this case baseball and hockey. The Bad News Bears I always felt depicted baseball very well, especially Little League. They didn't play like professionals and made mistakes. The games, while intense at moments, were not really dramatic. They had their moments, especially in the final game, but they had a lot of comedy thrown in, and I thought that made them fun to watch. The Mighty Ducks is the complete opposite. Many hockey fans have noted the amount of body checking that the movie presents in their version of Pee Wee Hockey. While body checking has been banned recently in the many kid hockey leagues, it was more prominent during the time that the Mighty Ducks was made, but not nearly to this extent. The kids are also way too perfect to be kids at times. However, the Mighty Ducks also made their hockey games more intense by adding commentary and making the scenes far more dramatic. Overall, it's a tough decision, but I have to go with the Bad News Bears again. While I like watching the hockey games in the Mighty Ducks and find them to be enjoyable, I find the baseball games from the Bad News Bears to be more fun and more lighthearted. They aren't too overdramatic, and when there is drama, it doesn't feel as hammy as the Mighty Ducks' dramatic moments. And last but not least is Best Story. This might seem like an impossible category given the fact that both share the same premise, but which one tells it better? This is actually simple for me. The Bad News Bears has the better story. It just feels more balanced and easier to watch. The Mighty Ducks isn't quite as well paced. It's more hampered down by over-the-top drama and overdone antagonists. It's not a bad story by any means, it's just not as good as the Bad News Bears, and that's just the way I see it. So the overall winner of this versus match is the Bad News Bears. Don't get me wrong, I love the Mighty Ducks, but I don't think it holds up as well as the Bad News Bears does. And that says a lot, given the fact that the Bad News Bears is the older of the two. However, and this might seem like a pointless fact to end this video on, but I don't think anyone would disagree with this. If there's one thing that these two movies have in common, they both spawned two very crappy sequels. Well everyone, that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.